Welcome to a deep dive into a topic that's captivated us, I think. Like since we started thinking about, life and what comes after, right? The Egyptian afterlife, always a popular request. Yeah. And today we're zeroing in on their idea of the field of reeds. We're working with some fascinating research compiled by Sharri Plaza. She's doing amazing things in kemetic cultural analysis these days. Right. And I think the reason people are so drawn to the field of reeds, well, it's not just about what comes after, it's how it connects to how you live your life now, which is, well, it's a pretty powerful idea when you think about it. Totally. Okay, so for those of us just dipping our toes into the Nile here, so to speak, pen as a picture, what the ancient Egyptians imagined as paradise, what did it actually look like? It wasn't harps and clouds, that's for sure. Their word for it was Aru, and picture this, everything you love about life, but like amplified, no downsides. So, if you love farming, you've got these insanely fertile lands that are just bursting with crops, but you're not breaking your back to work them. Okay, so far so good. I'm liking it. Right, and feasts, huge banquets with the most delicious food you can imagine, but you don't have to worry about, calories or anything like that. It's pure enjoyment. Sign me up. But there's one thing that I'm particularly curious about, and it's what really makes this deep dive so interesting. What about family? Like, is this just your own personal paradise, or do you get to hang out with, your ancestors and everyone? Oh, absolutely not. Remember, the ancient Egyptian afterlife was all about community, even in death. So your loved ones who passed on, they'd be there in Aru with you. Your relationships with them, the love, the support, even the arguments, it all continued. Okay, so maybe skip the arguments. Yeah, but I like the idea of a family reunion that lasts for eternity. That part sounds pretty good. But this wasn't just about lounging around in paradise, was it? You didn't just get in automatically. Exactly. It wasn't a free pass. Remember that core Egyptian principle of living a life aligned with truth, justice, balance, order, all of that. Right, Ma? Gotta have that. You had to actually deserve your place in Aru based on how you lived your life. So it wasn't enough just to want a blissful afterlife. You had to earn it by being a good person. Yeah. That's a pretty big difference from some other afterlife beliefs. Huge difference. And it gets even more interesting because the ancient Egyptians believed that this connection between the living and the dead, it wasn't one-sided. It went both ways. Both ways. What do you mean? I mean, what the living did could actually influence the experiences of those in the field of reeds, and the other way around too. It was a two-way street. Okay, now you have to give me an example. Okay, well, think about those elaborate tombs they built. They weren't just for show. Families would leave food and drinks, even statues representing servants, all to make sure their loved ones in the afterlife were comfortable and well cared for. Right. Like, even in death, you still got to eat. Exactly. And they believed that those who had passed on, they could actually intercede on their behalf with the gods, help with stuff like harvest, maybe even offer guidance through dreams. It was this really dynamic, interconnected relationship. So life and death weren't these separate things. It was all woven together. And that's what makes this concept of the field of reeds so fascinating, I think, because it wasn't just about, like you said, going to a better place. It was about this ongoing connection that transcended the physical realm, which, well, it makes you think, doesn't it? It really does. Knowing that the ancient Egyptians believed in this ongoing back and forth with their ancestors, how do you think it might have affected their everyday lives? The choices they made, how they treated each other, their whole outlook, really. Now, that is something to ponder. It really makes you think about how deeply these ancient beliefs shaped their world. And honestly, if anyone out there is as captivated by this as we are, I highly, highly recommend checking out Sharri Plaza's work. She's got this fresh perspective that makes these ancient beliefs feel incredibly relevant today. Couldn't agree more. On that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. But until next time, keep exploring.